That was a great explanation. Let's move to the next question. Can you explain what dependency injection is in ASP.NET Core and how you've used it in your recent project?
Of course. Dependency Injection, or DE, is one of my favorite features in ASP.NET Core. It's built in and makes our applications more maintainable, testable, and loosely coupled. Let me explain this in a practical, real-world context. In one of my previous projects, it was a logistics management platform. We had a service that handled email and SMS notifications whenever a shipment's status changed. Initially, all the logic was written directly inside the controller, including SMTP configurations and API calls for SMS. It became difficult to manage and test, especially when different teams had to modify notification behavior. That's when we refactored the code using dependency injection. Here's how I used it. I created an interface called inNotificationService with methods like sendMail and sendSMs. Then I implemented it in a class called NotificationService. This class had dependencies like an SMTP client and an HTTP client, which I also injected using DD through Constructor injection. Finally, in the Startup.cs file, now programmed to in Net6, I added the line. Services. Add scope to notification service. Notification service. This way, in the controller, instead of creating an object manually, I just declared the interface in the constructor, and the framework automatically provided the right implementation. This had 3 key benefits. Unit testing became easier. I could mock a notification service. I could replace implementations easily. For example, during staging, I used a fake SMS service to avoid charges. And most importantly, it reduced tight coupling and made our architecture cleaner. I even went a step further and registered some dependencies as singleton and transient were appropriate, like caching services were singleton and temporary file processors were transient. This experience gave me a deep understanding of how DE helps not only in code clarity, but also in long-term project scalability.